Well, folks, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to Jason's Wrestling Channel. Today, I'm going to talk to you about Ravishing Rick Rude. Now, he was under contract to the World Wrestling Federation back in 1988. And he had Bobby the Brain Heenan as his manager. And one of his first feuds that he had was against Jake the Snake Roberts. Now, Cheryl Roberts was sitting ringside, and Rick Rude would always bring a young lady into the ring after his matches and give him a rude awakening, which means he would kiss him in the middle of the ring, make out with him. So one day, she was sitting ringside, and he chose her, and she wouldn't come. So Rick Rude comes out of the ring, and he's asking her how come she wouldn't come, this and that. And she said that Jake the Snake Roberts was her husband. So then Jake the Snake Roberts comes out of the back, starts pummeling on Rude, starts beating up Rude. And that feud went on. Cheryl Roberts was like the main focus of it. Eventually, Jake the Snake Roberts ended up beating Rick Rude. And that was the end of that feud. So then Rick Rude would go on and he would feud with the Ultimate Warrior. Now that started at the Royal Rumble. They had a super pose down between the two guys. Rude was losing the pose down. And so the Warrior was posing, and Rude had a steel bar. And he hit the Warrior with the bar, and he went down. And he was beating up the Warrior. He wouldn't stop. Finally, they got the referees down there. They pulled the two guys apart. And that led into WrestleMania 5. So where the Ultimate Warrior defended the Intercontinental title against Rick Rude. Now, Warrior was going off the rope. He was running into the rope. Bobby Heenan grabbed the leg of the Warrior, and the Warrior fell. And then Rick Rude got up, and he pinned the Warrior to become the Intercontinental Champion. Ultimate Warrior leaves the ring, goes after Heenan, picks Heenan up, and body slams him. Rick Rude was in the middle of the ring with the Intercontinental title. So then at SummerSlam 1990, the Ultimate Warrior would get his rematch against Ravishing Rick Rude for the Intercontinental title. And so Warrior ended up beating Rick Rude for the Intercontinental title. And then at SummerSlam 91, Rick Rude would get his rematch against the Ultimate Warrior in a steel cage. And that would be the end of that feud. And so, after that, he left the World Wrestling Federation. He went to WCW. And he won titles like the United States Championship. And he was a two-time WCW World Heavyweight Champion. And I know that at one time, him and Sting were wrestling in a match. And Rude was the champion. And Sting ended up beating him for the title. And that was pretty much the end of Rude's career because Rick Rude had hurt his back and he couldn't wrestle anymore. So then he left WCW for a while. And then he went back to the World Wrestling Federation in 1990 3, and he would be with D-Generation X. He would be with Hunter Hearst Helmsley and Shawn Michaels as their executive consultant. And he wouldn't wrestle. He would just like carry a briefcase and just like help DX. But then one day his contract was coming up and he was a free agent. Now WWF was taped and Nitro was live. And on the same night, WWF was on. He made appearance on both shows in one night because the WWF show was taped and the WCW show was live. So he appeared on Nitro as a part of the NWO. And over on Raw, he was part of D-Generation X. It was kind of cool. And he left the World Wrestling Federation to go to WCW, and he was part of the NWO. And then eventually the NWO would split. They would break up, and WCW would go out of business. Now, after WCW went out of business, he continued to wrestle independently for a little bit, like in the smaller wrestling companies. And then in 2002, Rick Rude would sadly pass away from a heart attack. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel. And if you like Sing Star Rock Band, subscribe to Flash Gordon Sing Star Rock Band. And have a great day.